Hello there. Oh boy. This has been a day. Um yeah, basically I have been having some I was having some technical difficulties, kind of important ones. Not the normal technical difficulties, but my telescopes are acting up and I am still working on them, which is kind of annoying because that was kind of the whole point today. So let's see if we can troubleshoot it while we're here. Hello everybody who's there. Yeah, so I set up two Seestars outside just a little bit ago. Well, no, actually a while ago. And the problem was I might have to push this back later, next time I have a live stream, an astronomy live stream, because it wasn't dark enough. I mean, it was kind of twilight, and I was trying to set up the telescopes, and now they're both kind of in this they're both having a mood. Basically, well, I'll show you. Let me see. Let me see if I can do this. Computer. Is this? Yeah. So this is one of the Seestars, and of course it's downstairs. Of course it's downstairs, and then the other one. Let me hook this up. So the other one is over here, and it's kind of, did it actually work? Did it finally? Basically, it was in this mode where I had it pointing at the target, or I told it to go to M65, and it just kind of it kind of just spun there for a bit, and it seemed to be having a hard time identifying. So it takes photos of the sky, and then it tries to plate solve to make sure it's pointing at the right point, since it's not polar aligned, and it needs to kind of figure out where it's. I mean, I guess there's some margin of error with the compass, the built-in compass. So it takes a photo of the sky, figures out what it's looking at, and then kind of pans accordingly. And so let me actually try taking a photo here and see if it's actually pointing at what it's supposed to be pointing at. So basically I had set up both of the Seestars, and one of them, and they both seem to be working okay, but they were having, sometimes they have these kind of calibration issues where it's trying to figure out the compass direction. And I try to shut off a lot of the calibration stuff because it's able to figure out, so long as it's level, it's able to figure out kind of where it is with plate solving. Anyway, long story short, two telescopes, two Seestars, had them kind of set up outside, downstairs, and one seems to be working right now. The other one, like I say, is thinks it's not level, which is very frustrating because I just leveled it, and I've had this issue before. There might be too much play in the mount. And I have this little panorama head leveler. And do you see that? Do you see what it did with those stars? See how they're streaking there? I don't know what's going on with that. Stack failed, obviously. Let's see when it... I may have to... the other thing I may have to do is, instead of sitting in this room, I should probably live stream from downstairs. Because it's just... There's a table just inside from where the door where the telescopes are. So this is having a problem. I've had this before, and so I'll just stop and see if it helps it. The other problem is, of course, the one that's working has the weakest connection. Like, why are those stars drifting? Do you see how they're moving? That's what I'm seeing on the screen. They're moving like they're... And it's not windy. It's not windy at all. Hi there. Hi, Amanda. I'm glad I'm here, but it's not cooperating. So let's see if we can pick another target. One that might be sufficiently bright. One thing I'd been looking at was... I wonder... Let me just see if I can go to this. If I get this relatively bright star in the field, if it... yeah, you're welcome. It's... see things go wrong. And it's kind of frustrating, especially when you're doing it live and there's it's not near you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. This has happened to me before where I end up I have to wait until it's sufficiently dark and do calibration a couple of times. Like the first time I do it, it miscalibrates or something. And I do wonder, because those, the magnetic sensors aren't, those kind of magnetic sensors are sensitive to other things. And I wonder if there's some metal, I think there's some metal near. I mean, it's not right next to it, but like there's a metal bucket in the backyard. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I have very limited sky here, so that was the other thing. One of the first things before I came up here, I kind of got both of the telescopes to try to point at something, and I got the bright idea of trying to have them point at two different things. And that didn't work. Well, one of them appeared to have worked, but the other didn't. And the other problem is the moon is already kind of blocked by my house. let's see. Why? Sometimes, you know, one thing I have an issue with is, yeah, I mean, the seeing is theoretically pretty good, but I do have a problem with focus sometimes on very faint targets. Yeah, and sometimes, like, there's no high haze today, but that's sometimes an issue too. Now, what is this doing? Yeah, yeah, sometimes the clouds, like around here, sometimes the clouds particularly reflect the light pollution, but this is really acting weird. Let me see if I can do something with this other one. Oh. Oh. Yeah. No, I don't know that it was the flare, but we did have some lightning, a lot of electrical storm here the other day, and I was thinking it I mean, I didn't have anything sitting outside, but there was something where I thought it might have caused something. Well, this is interesting. So on a completely different note, usually when I would get to that calibration, the level calibration issue, or the level when it asked me to level the telescope, it sometimes wouldn't proceed, but when I dismissed it, it proceeded. So I don't even know if it's pointing at the right thing at the moment, but I'm trying the other one, the one that has a better connection. Meanwhile, I'll see if I can convince this. One thing I was trying to do before the live stream too was, because I do have it does sometimes struggle to plate solve against certain targets. I was going to try to see if there were some bright stars that would work for calibration. And so I'm looking if there's a star. Because the problem is, again, my skies are very very problematic. Oh, I don't know if it's pointing at the right thing, but this one did manage to collect at least one frame. Oh, got a second one. And if I'm correct, that must be M98 right there. Yeah, I think that one actually worked, even in spite of it complaining about not being level. Yeah, it's yeah, that was a good question. I was just trying to get I have two Seestars set up, and I was trying to get them pointed at, one of them pointed at something, and they were both acting up, of course. So, yeah, that's understandable. Unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, it's not. It's still pretty faint on screen, but it's showing up, so that's good. It's up to 4 frames, so that's better than nothing. Meanwhile, let me see. Is there any suggestions on? No, that's to the west. See, the problem is I can't see west. I can't see east. So Castor and Pollux would be good. Can't see them because they're blocked. How bright is Mizar? I don't happen to know. Oops. The magnitudes offhand. And actually, I meant to, let me. Kill the background. But yeah, what is Mizar magnitude? Oh, Mizar and Alcor. Okay, well, let me see if I can actually pick that one up with the other. Yeah, that looks like a nice. That looks like that could be a bright star. Yeah. See, it's I mean, honestly, I mean, Stellarium is. I was going to bring up Stellarium at some point. I had all these plans of some things that I was going to do, assuming things would actually work, and so we'll see. If I have at least one working, I might be able to. I might be able to do what I had originally planned to do. So let me. This one seems to be, again, it's hunting for what should be a fairly easy star to find. And I hope it's not because it's blocked by a building. Okay. It is still thinking about it. Meanwhile, this one is still is continuing to collect data, so that's good. It's very faint. I mean, the Seestar is not the biggest telescope, and but it's fine. But the conditions, as I say just about every time, are very challenging here. I've got a Bortle 9. The moon isn't too bad. It's like first quarter, so that's not too bad. But this is interesting. It's like it keeps trying to find. I think I'm going to stop this because it seems to be having a problem. Maybe I'll try M98 since it seems to be working for the other one. And that's to the southeast. Oh, yeah, and Coma Bernices. Okay, so the other one is trying to find its way. Oops. My well, I'm glad you're here. I do appreciate people who make, or I mean everybody who watches the videos and people who make it for the live streams. That's why I'm yeah. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who uh who shows up and makes and interacts and comments and stuff. So I do appreciate it. Um, yeah, the other one now it's having a hard time finding where it needs to go. Um, that's frustrating. I I had talked on a live stream at one point. Um, um, Castor. No, Castor and Pollux. I couldn't see. It would have been good if I could have, but they're to my west, and there's a building that blocks it, and so there was some other star. I think my this one I have on the screen, Mizar, and and that one I tried and it failed, and so now I'm trying to have it point at the same target that this other sea star is pointing at, and it's having problems. But it's on a different tripod that's kind of lower, so maybe it's having a hard time seeing. I hadn't thought about that. There was on one live stream I had there was this guy who has two sea stars, and he had a plate, and he attached both of them to the same plate and then like mounted them on a post. And I don't have like a permanent post that I mean the fences it wouldn't work. But I have thought about getting a plate, like a longer camera telescope plate, and attaching the two sea stars on each end as far as apart as I can, and then attaching them to like a really solid tripod so that so they don't block each other, but also theoretically they could be both leveled. Oh, did this finally? I think it finally. I think this one finally. I think this one finally found its way. So let me try. Although it looks like it's not quite pointing exactly the same position. It's really kind of hard to tell where it's pointing, but I'm going to take a photo anyway with this one. And so yeah, so I'm going to do the once I've taken a few photos with, or one or two targets with both of them, there is one thing I wanted to look up in Stellarium. It might be too ambitious for today because I'm having a hard time pointing at just normal targets. This one would be a bit more of a challenge, but theoretically it would be a good time. I just have to figure out what it only is in Stellarium. Or I know where it is in Stellarium, but I don't think it's in the Seestar Atlas. So I have to figure out what might be near it. Oh, no. It was kind of funny. I just looked up Pluto accidentally, and it is below the horizon, which I wasn't going to look at Pluto anyway, but that would be interesting. Maybe some other day. I'd actually figured that Pluto, well, I actually checked it out in Stellarium, and it moves enough day to day that even though it's very far out and it would be like a stellar point, I'd be able to see it on subsequent nights, like its motion across within the Seestar field of view. But something for another day, maybe. Okay. Oh, it's near. Sorry, I'm looking at another target I could possibly have used. Although maybe it's not high enough in the sky. Sorry, I was looking at basically Spica on the oops. It's different. Didn't like that. Didn't like going between the two screens. I really did not like that. Oh well. Let me make it a bit smaller. I have noticed that sometimes it gets a little kind of confused. Especially, I think maybe some of them work better on Windows, like some of these astronomy programs that work on multiple platforms. Or maybe it's just my setup where I have multiple screens, sometimes different resolutions, and it gets confused. Okay, sorry, I'm a bit behind on the chat. So, are you aware of any programs that can be used to put things together? Yeah. So, there was this. I know of a few ways of doing it. It depends on what kind of. Unfortunately, it's not always automatic, but if you have, and it also depends on what operating system you have. I know there was a free panorama app that some people were using for astrophotography. I don't remember the name of it, but it was on Windows. And but it was by Microsoft, I think, and I remember hearing a lot of good things about that one. But I think I don't know that it's supported anymore, and like there's still a download you can get. It just seemed kind of a little, it seemed a little bit kind of not a great solution, even though a lot of people still swore by it. Photoshop, I mean, like photo editors like Photoshop or Affinity Photo, I've seen people use those for mosaics. There is this APP Astro photo processor. Let me look at that. Is that Astro photo? Yeah, sorry, Astro Pixel processor. This software. It's commercial software. It's not as expensive as like a PixInsight, but I believe it does have do mosaics. So that would be an option. And honestly, I might end up doing a video about that because I have some things I've done with the Seestar, where I've taken photos of like the Orion area, nothing crazy. And then there's a few other targets that I've taken some photos of where I kind of did a bunch of overlapping ones, and eventually I was going to put them together into one. But so those are the options. That panorama software for Windows, just use Photoshop or Affinity Photo. And Affinity Photo does have a panorama stitching mode, and it does have some astronomy oriented modes in it. And then APP. Yeah. So, yeah, Mercury, Mercury is a tough one because it's close to the sun. But yeah, if you get it, same thing with Venus, since they're inside Earth's orbit, they have, it's not quite, I mean, you can see a crescent Venus or a crescent Mars. Well, not a complete crescent, but I mean, because it's the closer it gets to the sun. I mean, some of the angles are difficult, but anyway, let me. So this M90. So meanwhile on the phone, it's nothing. So let me go back to the computer. Let me try a different target with this. At one point I tried M65, which is near a relative, it's a galaxy, part of the Leo Triplet, and it's near a relatively bright star. So let me see if it can figure that out. Oops. Okay. So let's see. Back to Stellarium. I'm pointing at, let me see if it, okay, cool. Where is Spica? But yeah, I've thought about doing a kind of a, yeah, see, look, it's so confused. It's like, you know, I'm going to quit it and restart it. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Let me just go back to me in case I unleash chaos. Hate that I ran the wrong program. Okay, Stellarium. Okay. Oh, interesting. I wonder if I start it from this screen. I have my laptop screen and another screen, and sometimes it ends up confused. Or I shouldn't say the app. The computer doesn't end up confused. I think Stellarium's getting confused. No. Sorry. I'll bring back. Actually, I can bring back this view. So it's not cooperating. Always something. It's like trying to keep things. Okay. Let's go to the phone. Okay. So this is still having problems. I do wonder. Let me, maybe I just. That is so weird. It is like having some major. Anyway, I guess I'm not going to show Stellarium on screen because it's just not cooperating. I mean, the good thing is, if anything's going right this evening, it's that that one of the two is working, and it's got M98, and it's getting something. Let me start up Stellarium again, and I will go look at the comments. Okay. So I need to look at. I mean, it's a shame. I need to figure that out, why Stellarium's doing this, but because I do some things that if you haven't done this in Stellarium might be helpful. Like I set up the sensor for the Seestar and the telescope, and so I bring that up in an overlay, which helps kind of with framing of things targets I want to look at, because not everybody necessarily has used Stellarium and may not know how to use that. Okay, this is going to be tricky. Yeah, this might not be a live stream type of task, because the problem is this specific target I want a photo, I want an image is not. There's very few. Like the stars around it are not particularly. I mean, like 7th magnitude, but like there's nothing. There's nothing brighter than like the 7th magnitude in the field of view that the Seestar would see. So it's going to be a challenge, and I've been having such challenges today anyway. Yeah, that has happened to me on more than one occasion, especially because I live in Bortle 9 skies, and sometimes I don't really see the constellation that something is, where a particular bright object in the sky is. And so I'll see something bright and I'm like, oh, is that Mars? And it's like, no, it's Antares, or vice versa. It's like, so the Blaze star. What are the Blaze star? Oh, that one. Right. T Coronae Borealis. Okay. Or I may be mispronouncing that. Yeah, see, that's the problem I've had. The Seestar catalog is. Oh, did it finally? Oh, hold on. Let me switch to the phone. It finally stopped. Kind of the imaging loop it had been in. So let's see if it's actually looking at M65. The other problem is, so I have the two Seestars. One is on, let me try to image. Oh, that's not promising. It already drifted before it even started. I have the two Seestars. One is on a Wi-Fi network that's the same as this laptop, and that works great. You put it in station mode, it connects, and I can pull up the iPad app. This thing over here is the iPad app, and it's because this is a Apple Silicon laptop. You can run iPad apps anyway. And then the problem is I haven't been able to have both telescopes in station mode on the same network, because I'll pull up the app and it'll just connect to one of them, and I can't like force it to connect to the other one, or I haven't figured it out yet. So my iPhone is actually just kind of connecting directly to the other Seestar. And so that's been kind of a frustration / difficulty. And there's a way you can connect directly to the Seestar over like this network protocol, and then you can like run streaming software. And if you have two different, like you go into your router and you get the two different IP addresses, and you could theoretically do that, except that mode only works with lunar and solar modes and scenery mode. It doesn't work with the observing mode, because basically I want something where I can kind of have everything on one network, and then be able to switch between the two, or bring both of them onto the stream more easily. But yeah, M98. Meanwhile, this other one, you know how I don't know if it was that one, the one Seestar, where it started kind of drifting and it wasn't able to even capture a single frame. It's doing it again. You can see it hasn't captured anything, and it's got like these kind of linear stars, and it's like the thing is drifting for some reason. And whenever that happens, it never stops. I basically have to stop this, the whatever I'm doing, whatever target I'm pointing at, and try another target. So I'll continue to work on that, trying to achieve my dream of having both of them on stream at the same time. Okay, so back to this this blaze star. So Coronae Borealis. Unfortunately, like I say, I'm able to look at it here, but I'm just going to have to, I'll look it up enough if I can figure it out. So the Coronae. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I'm comparing notes, because this is in Stellarium. I typed I basically typed this, and it gave me Coronae Borealis. Is that? That might be it. Okay. So in Stellarium, I was able to, man, this is annoying. Why can't it cooperate? Okay, hold on. Dang it. Basically, let me turn this off. This is so weird. Let me check this off screen. It's basically almost, but not quite, midway between Vega and Arcturus. That may or may not help. And that's 60 degrees of sky, so that's maybe not the most helpful. Let me see. Oh, I wonder. I'm trying to see if there's some way I can force it to redo the screen resolution configuration. Please stand by. I'm trying to figure out the Oh, you know what? At the risk of, I'm going to switch back to me again, lest in case I cause chaos here with what I'm about to do. Basically, I think the built-in display let me see if I can. I wonder if it does it if it's smaller. Sorry, I'm just thinking aloud of why. Oh, let me see if that is closer. Oh, actually, that might be it. Let me see. Except it is like so confused. Like Stellarium seems to have, I'm moving it from one display to the other, and it seems to be kind of remembering the settings on the other one. Like it's complicated. I'm not going to try to. Let me see if I can. Maybe I force it. Maybe I force it to the other display. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Gosh, it's so annoying. I swear this didn't happen before, but I wasn't doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Could it? Maybe it actually worked. Let's try this. Yes, it worked. Okay. That was not, that was more complicated than it needed to be. Hold on. And of course. Okay. So this is Stellarium full screen. And I looked up this, I typed in the Coronae, whatever, Coronae. My Latin's not great. Actually, my Latin is non-existent. But so I have the Coronae, or I started typing. So I'll show you what I did. I went to search, and I typed Coronae, and it came up with this variabilis, and I bet that's the variable. And so it's near some other. So I wonder if, let me see if I can, at the risk of making things, see if we can, at the risk of breaking it. So let me see, this seems to be imaging well, so that's good. Okay, so that seems to be working well. So let me look in the atlas for, so what could be near here that might be of interest? Oh, so what I do sometimes is it D? We'll show you deep sky objects near. Okay, the Great Star Cluster in Hercules. Oh, let me see if I can find that. Okay. This star is in there. Okay, so let's go look at that. Yeah. Uh, let's go back to this, and then let me see where it stands, and if that's okay, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah. So see, it's starting to get some field rotation. It's been going for 20 minutes. That's good, but yeah, you can see, yeah, got a galaxy there. So that's good. I got at least one thing done, one thing imaged tonight. So let's go try to find this. Um, let's try to find this star, this one, and I'm going to stop it immediately. Let me stop it. Okay. Okay, there's gamma and R. Let's see. Oops. So, oops. Didn't mean to do that. Um, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So these stars right here are these right here. And the one we're looking for is this one, I think. Oh, which is R. Which is R. So it is in here. It's just listed as R, I think. Let me go look at let me look at what Wikipedia says. Is it the same one? Or maybe it isn't. Oh, okay. So let's look at it. Let's find. Let's find. So here, actually, it would be down. So see, here's these stars, and then it's near Epsilon, supposedly, which would be, oops. So so it would be this one, maybe? Is it around here? That doesn't help. Actually, let me see what the location, oops, what the location it says. Actually, it has the right ascension and declination. So theoretically, you could, actually, so let's compare it with what I'm pointing at here. It's 15 hours, 59 minutes, so that's not exactly it. 58 minutes. Wait, what is this thing? Okay. So is it somewhere over here? 59. Oh, too far. It says 59:30. So it would basically be somewhere in this area, near this star. Near, is it Epsilon? I am wondering what this this one, like what is this one? Because that isn't the right ascension, so I'm not sure what that one is supposed to be. This. Sorry, I'm just kind of clicking around. That's getting close. But it's, what's the declination of... Oh. Oh. I'm looking at maybe... Oh no, so that's the J. So I'm comparing this right ascension and declination with the J2000 one, because that's J2000. Reminds me of the olden days when I used to do a lot of visual astronomy, and I would have to look at star charts a lot. Anyway, it's generally, and let me see what the field of view. So actually, if you get this star, which you can find in, sorry, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here. But basically, I think it might be around here. Not sure what that one is. But basically, I think it's near this one. But that's a good question, because I do want to image that one. So maybe I need to dig into this a little bit more. But there was another question. Let me losing connection. Yeah, I guess, like, for me, like this I'm connected to a Seestar through its Wi-Fi, and it's like outside this wall down a floor. But it's iffy. Like, if I'm too far into the house, like if I'm not right near this wall, I lose connection. But generally, I mean, I can get... Now, I take it back. That's once I've connected. I've had bad luck actually connecting to it the first time, or initially, unless I'm really close, like within 10 feet or less than 10 feet. Because it does first, it asks you, through Bluetooth. I think it scans for it in Bluetooth, and then it says, do you want to connect to the access point? And it'll see that access point, but it'll seem to fail to connect. But once it's connected, I've been able to get, tens of feet away from it, so long as there aren't too many obstructions. So let's see. The other thing is, okay, so maybe that's part of the problem. This is normally a 10th magnitude star. And so, how do I usually have, actually, yes, haha. So I turned on the equatorial grid. So it is, and a lot of what I use with Stellarium is I look at the help, and I just kind of over time have picked up a few of the key sequences. Like, basically it's just single letters and some like modifiers on some of them. So we're looking for 19 or 1559 and a half, we'll call it. So it would be somewhere on this line, and then 25. Oh, so 25. 2555 is the declination. So it's actually further further from this star than I realized. 25, 55. So somewhere. Okay. Is it this one? 25. Sorry. It's always kind of a, especially if it's not in the catalog, it can kind of be 25. I know I could just type in the coordinates, I'm sure, but what's the fun of that? Is it this one? If it isn't 20, 25, 55, 12. 25, 55. Could it be this one? $25, $55. Or is it? No. So the right ascension is fine. The declination is a little, it's off by an arc minute in Stellarium. Or what I clicked on, I should say, is off by an arc minute. Actually, it would be, anyway, I think it's somewhere in here. Actually, let me break down and pick a yeah. No. Anyway, I think that's right. I think that's where it is, which would put it. Okay, so it'd still be, let's move this over. It would be, hard to, is it down here? Actually, what I can do is overlay. Okay. So if I have, so this is the Seestar field of view. So if I, no, that's wrong. That can't be right. That's wrong. Sorry. Oh. Oh, sorry. I have the wrong sensor. Okay, fine. I have multiple sensors, and I kind of programmed into Stellarium, and I had it on the wrong sensor. I didn't have it on the Seestar sensor. So this is going to be even more problematic because I think it's this one. And the problem is there aren't any really good bright stars near here. You've got this, is it Epsilon star here? And so you'd have to have it. And I think this star is this star. But you see, it's like kind of faint in this catalog, so you might be kind of hard pressed to even see it, but and it's I think it's too low in my sky, so I can't actually point at it. It's 42 degrees above the horizon, and my skies are kind of yeah, it's there's a building that way, so. But that's basically what I would do, and that was kind of the problem I was having with the other target that I wanted to look at. Let's maybe I'll see. I'll go through the same exercise with this one. Oh, oh no. Okay. So this one is, and see, this is the problem. Like, well, it's due south, so theoretically I should be able to see it, but I'd have to find a star that's bright enough in the field of view in the frame, and none of these are particularly bright. Like, this is a decently bright star, and even then that's kind of, oh, that's cool. Is that a double? That's a double. Huh. Yeah, so that target I wanted to go to isn't okay. Sorry. I've right. Yeah, was the car between, I mean, were you in the car? Cuz I've had that oh, okay. Sorry. I'm way behind. Let me look up. I see. So let's see what that. Oh. Actually, that is a good one. Oh, but again, I might have a problem actually seeing this because of my because of an obstruction, but we'll see. We'll see. It's trying. So we'll see if it actually makes it. Yeah, I think we're about to find out. No, and it's actually a good exercise for people who haven't I mean, because the problem is with like some of these areas, it's very it can be very challenging. But that's strange. I thought because I had turned on deep sky objects. But what is IC? It's a radio galaxy. Oh, and well, see, it's a pretty faint one. It's 15th magnitude. I might have a hard time. Well, it might not be a problem because if it's plate solving on stuff in the field of view, it won't be it shouldn't be a problem. But it might be yeah, it would be, is it this one? No. Is it this one? Oh, wait, it's this one. This is the one that I think is the variable, which, if so, then it would be totally in the field of view. So, okay. So we'll see if my telescope If I actually have an unobstructed view that direction, it's going to be a little iffy because it's 43 degrees and there is kind of a lower building that direction. It's not as tall, but it's tall enough. It might be tall enough. So maybe the car was shielding the telescope, because I have this issue where I have like a metal patio door, and when I'm doing the initial connection to the Seestar, I mean, the frame is metal. I have to like be looking through the window. Even when the telescope's like 10 feet away, 10 feet away. I don't know if some of it's I don't know if it's the frame is interfering with it or what, but I do have those problems with my Seestar. So it'll get in this loop where it'll say it wasn't able to identify the target, but then it will go ahead and it won't move. It's like it didn't identify that it was pointing at the wrong direction. It just wasn't able to see. So let me see if there's even anything here. So I'll switch to the live view. Yeah. Did you see that? It's pointing at a building. I'll have to try later. But that's a good suggestion. The this IC 4587. So yeah. What else do we want? This one is still. Let me see if I can do anything with the other one through my phone. It doesn't even know where it's pointing. Let's see. Oh. I know I did this last time, but it's a relatively bright target, so I'm going to try again. It's like the switcher doesn't work if I'm sorry. So I'm standby of M3 globular cluster. Part of the reason I kind of went back to that is I want to collect more data from it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's fine. We'll do some more from this other telescope or this other Seestar. So what else can we image tonight? Let me see. I'm gonna go back to. Oops. I did okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's not gonna work. It's below the horizon. Some of these things, it's well, that's interesting. When's that? Sometimes it gives these news items that are like old. Oh, July. Asia and Africa will be able to see Saturn going behind the moon in July. That's cool. Okay. Sky Atlas search. Oh. This one. All right, have a good evening. So let me go. Yeah, that happens with so long as I don't glitch. Well, besides what I've already done with the Seestars. What is encouraging is this one was actually able to I think it was actually able to do something. So let's look. I'm not convinced it's actually pointing at M3, because usually when it does, you can see kind of even with the live preview that there's like the globular cluster right there. And the fact it's not showing anything, like even when the moon's up. Anyway, this one's hopeless. So what now? So I am using 10-second exposures. I haven't changed to 20-second. I think for some targets it makes sense to do 20 or 30 seconds. I need to find that again. I'd seen this chart where someone had kind of figured out based on field rotation where you could get away with 20 and 30-second exposures without having too much field rotation, where it would be worth it. And of course, if you do kind of the equatorial mount mod, you could go much longer. But I only do 10-second exposures. Plus, based on how things are here, sometimes with the seeing and clouds and stuff. Yeah. Oops. I don't know why. Oops. I have two chats going, and sometimes I see the new ones. Yeah, well, since this telescope's working, let's try doing M3 here, because it is not doing anything on this one. So let's try that. Yeah, I mean, I think I got decent results from it. Let me see if I can find it real quickly. No, I can't find it quickly. Or maybe I can. I have a copy of all my Seestar videos, photos, on an external SSD that I just happened to plug into the laptop before. Oh, I almost plugged it in before the live stream. So let me see. Supposedly, yeah. How long was that one? I have one with 64 frames, 120 frames, 172 frames. Let's look at the 172 one. So this was the JPEG from it. It actually wasn't bad. This was when was this? And this is right out of the telescope. This was on the 22nd. So just 3 weeks ago. Yeah, so that actually didn't turn out too bad. Like I say, that's just out of the telescope. So I was happy with those results. That's too bad. Yeah, I've been I've joined a few other people's live streams, astronomy live streams, because it's been so cloudy here, and so I was quite excited when it looked like we would actually have a clear night here. So that was nice. Oh, come on. Why does it think it's not level? Oh, but it is pointing at it. See, this is what I was saying. I should have seen that on the phone view, but the phone still hasn't. There's something wrong. I'm trying to think. I have two different Seestars, but they're on two different mounts. One of them's on kind of a bigger tripod, and the other's on just the default tripod. And the one that's on the default tripod, I think that's the one that's having problems. Is it? Yeah, I think that's the one that's having problems. And yet I've been able to I was using it like a bunch during the day. I was doing some stuff pointing it at the sun. And so let's go ahead and start this. Yeah, that was a nice cattywampus. Yeah, that's the problem I have is neighbors' houses. I live kind of in the city, and I have a lot of surrounding houses, and yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of, I don't know. Let me see if I can pull this up. I was kind of messing around today. Um, oh, when was that? That was today. I did, hold on. I was, I was just kind of messing around with the sun earlier today. So this was with the Seestar, and it does a pretty good job, I think, for white light. The sun. Now the big kind of sunspot group, the big. Yes, we did appreciate that. Thanks, Tom. um, we I'll show you another thing that I might do at some point on a live stream. I was so the globular cluster, it's working. That's good. Let's see. So before the eclipse, I had bought kind of like I had bought that sun tracking mount, the what is it called? The Solar Quest. I'd bought this for the eclipse, and it's kind of expensive for a mount that can only be used for the sun. And so my rationale at the time is I'd long wanted to kind of get into solar astronomy more, just for various reasons. And white light solar astronomy is nice, but kind of like some of the filtered lines, like hydrogen alpha and calcium line, are there's more stuff you can see with the sun. And the problem is, historically, those were pretty expensive, and you can't use just like a hydrogen alpha line. Anyway, long story short, I had gotten a solar telescope before the eclipse, and I shouldn't say before the eclipse. I think I got it last year, and that was kind of my rationale of why I got that sun tracking mount, is that I wasn't going to use it just for the eclipse. So the problem is I've used it a lot visually, but I haven't been able to use it as much photographically. But today, since it was actually clear during the day, I did kind of put it outside, and I was able to get. Now, this normally people stack images, and so like this has some Newton ring kind of banding artifacts, but you kind of get the idea that it's you can really see kind of more structure on the sun as far as like the it's the spicules and facule, whatever. And so, yeah, like this was a photo taken by some NASA lab, and I was using it to try to make sure that, you know, I was actually capturing all those things. So yeah, it was all, and I did get, let me see if I can pull that photo up. I also did manage to get, and so I thought I might do like a live stream, with the solar observing at some point once I get it better situated, because I had both the Seestar, like that photo I showed earlier, and this going at the same time. Sorry, I'm almost there. Is this it? Oh yeah. So you can kind of see, this is just the raw fit file. This is like more exposed, but I was able to get some prominences. There was nothing major on the edge of the sun today. I double checked with another source to make sure that I wasn't that I didn't have my exposure wrong. But yeah, so kind of neat, and something you can do. You know, I basically set it out there kind of during lunch, and which is the only time I'd be able to, it's kind of middle of the day that I can see the sun from my backyard. Same issue I have with the stars, just restricted sky. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, wait. Again, sometimes my chat ends up getting all cattywampus, wonky. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I was kind of I mean, that was part of the reason. I mean, I like during the eclipse, you can see, you know, kind of the corona, which is harder to do outside of an eclipse. And it's not the same. Like, there's instruments that can do it, but then with a hydrogen alpha, either like a telescope or like a quark eyepiece, or like the right kind of equipment, you can see at least the prominences, which I had always wanted to do. And so that was kind of they used to be like thousands of dollars, and now there's a couple of different ones, one by Lunt and one by Coronado, which I think is now part of Meade, that are under $1,000, and they're not as high quality as some of the ones where you might see people post images of that they've taken with hydrogen alpha telescopes. But it's good. I mean, it's nice enough where you can see like a lot of the features of the sun's disk that you can't see with in white light, and you can see prominences, which is doubly cool. Yeah, so little a little thing to kind of mess around with, and like I say, because it had been so cloudy, I was kind of, I mean, I've been visually using the telescope, but I didn't have I'd been kind of trying different imaging devices, and that was the disadvantage of kind of the one I got, the Coronado. It's difficult to use photographically because it doesn't have like enough back focus. Like it really is meant for visual use, and so a lot of astronomy cameras won't work with it. DSLRs won't work with it. People use Barlows with it, but I didn't want to have to use a Barlow lens. I wanted to try to just use it directly, and that there's limited options with it because a lot of the astronomy cameras won't work. But so I'd gone through and tried several different things, and And I finally got something that I I had another camera, but it had even more massive Newton rings, and so this one's a lot better. So I'm pretty satisfied with it. It's a mono camera though, so I think that's part of the reason why it's different kind of configuration. All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm behind. Yeah. Thanks for joining. Thanks for participating, and yeah, have a good evening. And thanks for joining here. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I have it. I have like. I mean, I'm not watching the stream. But I have like this one monitor of the stream, and then the chat, and then it sometimes doesn't update, and so I'll see the message show up on one but then not the other. So let me look at this at my phone to see if it's if I can bring it back. Let me see. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's actually what I have. I run the chat popped out, but it sometimes still gets out of sync for some reason. Okay, so this is working. M3 over on the computer is working. I'm just trying to now figure out. Oh, I wonder if I can do this. That would be awesome if I could. I'm trying M101 Galaxy. Let's see. For some reason, my oops. I sometimes forget to dismiss the chat. Let me see. Okay, so let's see what this comes up with. It's really weird. Like, this one has been having such problems. And I wonder if it's the other one. Because I made a change just before the stream where I have this tripod leveling head that I like, but it seemed to be having some issues. Like, there's some play in it that I need to fix. And as the telescope was pointing different directions, it was kind of, the play was causing it to like suddenly become not level. And so I removed it and put it on the tripod and then re-leveled it, and it seemed fine. And if it's the one I changed just before the stream, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's not behaving. Which again goes to the, I need to mount both of them on a plate on the same tripod, a sturdy plate, and then hopefully that will alleviate the level issues. Let me check something here. Nope. It's really weird. Just trying to figure out why this isn't doing what it's supposed to. But oh well. Can't figure that out now. So I don't know why this I don't know why it's not working. It's that's very frustrating. Let me take a drink of Gatorade, non what do you call it? Store brand Gatorade. Yeah, this thing it's cursed. I mean, part of the reason I wanted to have two Seestars going tonight is I've had such bad luck with clouds recently, and combined with the fact that some of the nights have been full moon when it was clear, and I have such a restricted kind of view of the sky on a good day that I thought, oh, next time I do a live stream, a live observing stream, I should try to do both at the same time so I can collect twice as much data, because I've been wanting to do some, like there's some kind of projects on some targets I've been wanting to do, but I just need more data to make it work. Especially given where I live, where the signal to noise ratio is just iffy on a good day. To try to, oh, did it? Could it have actually locked onto a target? We will see. It claimed it found M101, but every time I've pointed at something and then started it, it either wasn't pointing at the target or it immediately started drifting. And this is starting to drift, so I'll let it figure it out. Maybe it'll work. But yeah, so I was wanting to do this, not as some kind of what do you call it, gratuitous thing, but because I genuinely, let me turn off this. Yeah, sorry, it was in night mode, and so everything was starting to kind of night shift mode, so it was starting to yellow unintentionally. Anyway, I'll have to figure it out, because the motivation is still there. I still want to try to take more photos, get more exposure time of the sky, and for that I want to run both Seestars. Okay, so let's see where we stand here. Sorry, I'm like, okay. Oh. Yeah, the problem is that telescope is downstairs, and I every time I do a live stream, like something new comes up, or I kind of know it might come up, and I'm like, well, I should address that for the next one, and so like I've slowly added things and built things each live stream. And one of them is having a proper way of saying, hey, I'll be right back in case I need to take like a nature break or I need to go yell at a telescope. But the problem is that the double problem with it is this issue I have where I have two different networks, and I could actually pull it off because since the one that's misbehaving is the one that my phone is using, I could just leave this up on screen, the other one, and go downstairs and try to fix it. I'd be able to check that it's fixed with my phone. But really, to do that, I'd like to have something interesting on the screen, or at least a, I'll be right back kind of thing. And I just don't feel motivated right now because I was like messing around with it for so long, and I need to kind of get to the bottom of that. And it might be clear tomorrow, but I don't know if it'll be as good. So, I always misspell it. Astrospheric. Let's see for tomorrow. Yeah, see, look at that. It's going to be great tonight, but then back to cloudy and now on Sunday it might be. But see, even then it's like it's so annoying. It'll be clear like either early in the morning and then during the day, and then it'll start getting cloudy at night. Just in time. Which is part of the reason why oh, sorry, Allison. Hi, Allison. Glad you joined. You always leave comments. You always because some of my live streams, like my normal live streams, tend to be really short. I mean, they can be really short. Like I usually have a topic, I cover it, I go for like 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, and then I when I'm done, I stop. But like these are more open ended. So you have better odds of catching me on one of these. But then the problem is I've had lousy weather recently, so oops. So are you using OBS? Partly. I have it's complicated. I have I use like actually a video switcher, and I use OBS. So it's kind of a combination. I used to use Ecamm, but it didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. Yeah, this is totally failing. So frustrating. I think this telescope's just it's not gonna work. So yeah, I'm using OBS somewhat, and so because of the way I kind of do some of the kind of triggering of things on the stream, I've thought about using OBS for it, and actually I had on my lap, I had kind of started doing a be right back thing, but I ran out of time, and I'm not going to do that on stream. It's not worth it. The good thing is we have one working Seestar, which was as much as I had the last thing. Yeah, it's very frustrating. You're in Maine, right, Tom? I forgot. My brain's mush. BlueStack. Let me see. Oh. Jersey Shore. Never mind. That's close. Not close. Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in New York, in New York City, and I knew a lot of people who lived in New Jersey, and some people had like, yeah, some people had a house, or they lived, they lived on in Jersey Shore, on the Jersey Shore. What am I looking for? Oh, blue stack. What is that? Oh, is it blue stacks? Was it blue stacks? Oh, yeah. If it's what I think it is, yeah, I need to look at that. Um, no, I haven't caught Star Talk recently. There was some episode that popped up on one of my feeds, but I kind of opened it in a tab to look at later, so I'll do that. Um, I have a little thing there. So yeah, that's the bad skies I've been having recently are I mentioned it during the last live stream. It's part of the motivating factor behind me uh, building an all sky camera. I actually have an all sky camera that I already built, and this is going to be a different one. Um, but basically, because I still haven't figured out all the details, but um, at the very least, I can more easily check if it's clear. Because that's always been a struggle here. Is again, because my sky is so restricted, I have to like actually go, I can't just sometimes look out the window. I have to actually go out in the backyard and like look up, which I know it's not the worst thing, but when it's like, mosquitoes and humid. um, okay, okay, Vermont. Yeah, yeah, cool. Long Island. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in kind of well, especially New York. Not recently, but used to spend a lot of time there. Um, what was it? What was I thinking of now? Um, so this seems to be progressing. Well, I say that, but it seems stuck at 4 minutes. Yeah, I think it's stopped because I don't know when it last went up. I know I've been seeing the the stacking failures out of the corner of my eye, so let me stop this. One thing I was thinking of, and I need to go see if people have, uh, I'm sure someone's done it. I know people that basically putting like some kind of thing on the Seestar to help see where it's looking in case it gets, especially again in where I live, where I have to turn off horizontal calibration because it doesn't work most of the time. And so, oh yeah, look at this. For whatever reason, the M3, maybe that's why it was starting to fail because it had basically drifted um, off the frame. Let me see if I can nudge it. Especially given the way this is kind of set up, and since I'm not like directly connected to it, I'm a little afraid that I'm gonna, cause it to like zip off out of the frame of view. But it seems kind of like maybe I just need to get it a little bit more. Okay. Maybe if I resume it. Okay, you can stop now. Okay. Let's see if this works. All right. Yeah, I mean, especially I do I do wonder about that sometimes. And when I was testing all my stuff for the eclipse, I did one because it was during the day. I wondered what if any neighbors who kind of could see into my backyard, and see all these telescopes, kind of pointing up, if they were wondering what I was up to. Um, and there were a couple times where the sun was like closer to their house, and so I hope they didn't think I was like pointing my telescope into their house. But yeah, that was fun. Funny. Now at night, mostly people don't like around where I live. I don't think people look outside mostly. Yeah. So it got. I'm just. I'm just looking at this and seeing it's not like it's not updating. It doesn't look like it's so weird. Maybe because I pointed at the same target and it tried to. Anyway, I'm not going to. Let's try to. Oops, I didn't mean to exit out of that. Let's try another target. And what else? Yeah. Well, yeah, and because the other thing about the Seestar, I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of unobtrusive, but on the other hand, it doesn't look like a lot of people's, especially in the dark from a distance, it doesn't fit a lot of people's probably mental image of what a telescope is supposed to look like. And so, yeah, they're probably wondering what what you're doing. There've been a couple times where I thought about doing it, putting it out front. Um, and yeah, I was wondering what the neighbors would make of it. Um, well, since this one is kind of a bust, but let me look at some of the things I've. It is so weird. Because it's like pointing at something right now, and so I'm going on my phone, and I'm trying to go ahead and take an image of it, and it's just like thinking. Okay, yeah, M13. That's a good suggestion. Let me see how high it is in the sky. It does that. This particular app sometimes does this. Northeast. It might work. Let's try. because the houses around me and the buildings around me, some are taller than others. You know, like they have an extra floor and some don't. And then sometimes I'm like certain directions, I might be like looking over somebody's backyard. And so it just kind of varies. In general, most things below 45 degrees altitude, I can't get. Some areas I can get lower, and some directions I can get lower, some directions I can't. It's like over 50 degrees. But this direction I might um I I saw Tom's message about M13, and that's what prompted me going to it. What in the world is wrong with this one? It's funny because like it was pointing at a point in the sky and it seemed perfectly happy, but it was in preview mode, and so then I go try to like take a photo and it starts moving. So and that one's cursed. Okay. That said, I've looked at a lot of targets with my with this one, and so I'm kind of looking through the history to see what other things that might be worth looking at. I could try the whirlpool with this one with. Oh, come on. Oh, hey. Well, that's encouraging. Yeah, that's very encouraging. I was just checking the focus. That's why I was like looking close, but I'm not going to bother trying to focus it. So let's see what else. One that I've tried to get photos of is M84, part of Mark Carrian's chain. But that's been that whole area is very iffy for me. But then again, the last time I tried it, it was near a full moon, so maybe I'll try that again. Yeah, let me try. I do like Leo's Triplet, but I feel like I always look at that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try M84 after I get some more data from this. I mean, do you have I mean, if you have a Seestar, it's like you don't have to do all of what I've done. Like you can get. Well, that said, at one point I had my phone. I think it was on one of the earlier live streams. I tried to plug my phone directly into my laptop, and then my laptop tethered to my phone, and it like broke the stream, which was kind of awkward. Yeah. Yeah, M13. Well, it's working for me at least. Like I have better luck to the east at my house. West is I pretty much once things hit the meridian, um I'm I can't go much past the meridian before things are blocked. Let's see. All right. Well, this seems. Thanks, Tom. Good suggestion. Yeah, I need to combine that with. I have. I have taken photos of several of these targets, and I do like revisiting them because I'm able to kind of combine them and do extra processing with them. One thing I had been digging around in. I'm probably going to do some videos about things besides Siril, but I had been digging around in Siril's code repository because since it is open source, and I was looking at kind of one dot, what is it, 1.13 or 14, then the next release, the next major release, and some of the stuff that's already being committed into that kind of branch, or is going to be in that release. And it looks like, I mean, one of the things that has been committed and is I guess more true dithering. So that'll be, or not dithering, drizzling, true drizzling. So that'll be interesting to test out. I've thought about downloading, trying to see if I can find a nightly build of it to try to test it out. But yeah, this is making progress. Yeah, for me, it's, if only it were trees. I mean, at least that would be something green. But yeah, I mean, we have trees. That's also part of the problem. But a lot of it's just buildings, like, you know, kind of like townhouses, but kind of, so like not much. Yeah, there's just a lot. And then pile on top of it just the bad seeing here. But yeah, M84 definitely. I'll probably let this go for a little bit, and then I'll point it at M84. Yeah. So I'll show you what I was looking at. What was that? Siril free astro source. Okay. Yeah. So here's the source repo for GitLab, or for Siril. And I was looking at the news. Oops, sorry. So I was looking at the news. So as they've been adding, patching stuff, and merging pull requests and stuff, all that source code type stuff, they've been amending the news, and I was just kind of poking around, seeing what things, allowed object search. Oh, I guess for the photometric or something. Some of it, I guess I need to reread this more carefully just to try to, but this added Drizzle. And so, because I knew there was like a flag in Siril. Oops. There already was. So there already was a Drizzle flag, which I've played around with, but I guess the new version is let me see. Yeah, where are the commands? Oops. Command reference. Yeah, it's like the old Drizzle algorithm. The old Drizzle one is like renamed something else. Yeah. I don't know where I saw that, but yeah, it looks like it'll be getting kind of proper drizzling Siril. But yeah, it would be nice if the Seestar had it. It does make me wonder what kind of like a Seestar 2 might be. And I know I just saw some video from somebody about one of the other smart telescopes out there, the Dwarf. The Dwarf 2 was the current version, but apparently there's a Dwarf 3 coming out. And Seestar is still the first one, so it'll be interesting to see if like Seestar version 2, like, I wonder, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out this year, but we'll see. Or a different model. Because like the Seestar came out like last summer, I think. And then, because I got mine about just over 6 months ago. And so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. I think I had started down that path. Sorry, I got up pretty early this morning, but I'm not tired, but my brain's just not firing on all cylinders. When I was having issues aligning the scope, actually, it started even like a while before the stream, because I was trying to point at the moon, and the problem is if it can't see the moon immediately, it was during twilight, just at the beginning of twilight, so there weren't any stars that it could like realize it's pointing at the wrong direction. And so it just kind of gets to the angle and just starts, kind of pivoting to try to find the moon, and it failed. And so I kind of went to it, and I was like sighting up the Seestar, and I know some people added some like solar sights. I think I saw that for the eclipse, where they could manually point it. But I was thinking it would be nice to have something electronic added, like maybe something like this. I'm sure somebody's done it, where you could kind of mount it to the Seestar, so you could, I guess the key would be doing something light enough that it doesn't affect it, but to like something with a wider field of view, because that's one of the things with the Dwarf 2, is that it had a secondary kind of sighting camera, I think. And so that would be nice. That would be a nice thing to have. And I thought about actually rolling my own, just for occasions like that, or like where I'm having these issues. Well, that other one is just having issues in general. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Thanks. I'm gonna make a note to myself of things to do. This one actually seems to be working pretty well. I don't see it doing any like particular stacking issues. Yeah, that I could see that. Seeing the sky. I don't know when I started kind of being interested in astronomy. It was a long time ago. I mean, I remember I was kind of into it in high school, or junior high, or middle school, if you will. But I just kind of, oh, what am I? No, I'm not gonna. Yeah. Like this photo of me in 1984. Um, and like this was the first partial solar eclipse I saw, but I I didn't like I already had the telescope. I didn't just get it for the eclipse, and there was like another telescope I used for that. And so I was already kind of I wasn't little, but I mean I was a teenager, but I do wonder I was thinking about this recently cuz I was trying to figure out like when I first got interested in astronomy. And I don't think it was when I lived in an area where it was dark. So I think I became interested in it while I was living in Houston. Um, but it was darker back then. Houston was like a fraction of the size it is now, like less than half the size it is now. Um, so I mean, it was probably, I mean, we couldn't see the Milky Way at our house. So it still was probably Bortle 6, 7, maybe, but not 9. um, but yeah, and so if anything, the funny thing is, since I did so much visual astronomy in Houston and like in the kind of suburbs and exurbs of Houston, whenever I would go to like a Bortle 1, I would get so disoriented looking up at the sky because there was just like I couldn't figure out the constellations because there were too many stars. It was kind of funny because I just wasn't used to it. I don't have these problems. I don't have these problems these days usually. Yeah, this is actually progressing. Has it had any stacking failures? Because it seems to still be chugging along. That's great. I'm hesitant to stop it, so I'm just going to keep it going for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to try M84, and it's a I'll wrap it up before midnight or midnight my time. I think maybe last time I went slightly past midnight. I think, but it's it's low key. I'm gonna have another sip. Well, that's good. Haven't seen any stacking issues, so that's good. It's yeah. But yeah, I do think I want to try M84. Although that again with my skies here, that might be iffy. Let me see. I mean the drag is that like especially it depends on where the objects are, but yeah, I need to I still plan on doing a live stream at some point from someplace more distant or someplace darker, I should say, which is unfortunately going to be a little distant. I started mapping it out. Oh, so this was a thing. Oh, and I haven't done the compulsory. If you're watching this and aren't a subscriber, feel free to subscribe. What was it? What was it? Astronomy. What was it? So there's a light pollution map that, like this one, which is the one I've always kind of gone to. What is this? Huh. Well, so the one I've been looking at recently, I historically would look at this light pollution map.info, but I've been looking at this one, which is similar, but it's theoretically more up to date. But basically, I was kind of looking around. Yeah, Houston's pretty abysmal, and you can see you have to go pretty far. Like this is, I mean, so like this is 80 miles. This is a couple hundred miles, or this is a couple hundred miles. This is almost not quite 200 miles. And so there's like some patches here that are more like Bortle 5, I think. But like, well, and this is the Gulf of Mexico. So of course it's like dark there if you go out on a boat. But like there's these little islands, but for the most part, it's this. The problem is this is the Texas Triangle, which is like 3 major population centers, or like two pretty big cities, and then Austin and San Antonio, the capital, and then also another city with over 1 million. And so like there's not a whole lot of good stuff of darker skies in this area. I mean, you can kind of see, like I've been up here and you could see the Milky Way, but it's not like so to get to really like better than Bortle 5, you have to go like 300 miles or more, 400 miles. And like this area is like Bortle 1, but this is like Big Bend National Park, which is like 600 miles from here. So it's kind of a drive. Yeah, I understand. I mean, that's why I mean, you're an hour ahead of me, but I'm gonna stop it at like, you know, half an hour at most, 40 minutes at most, just because I mean, I work in the morning. I work from home, but it takes me a while to wind down. So, yeah, yeah, that's, yeah, yeah, it's, if I start having clear sky, I mean, if I have clear skies, I don't want to do one of these live observing streams more than once a week. I do have one live stream once a week, typically. Lately, I've been doing it on Friday evenings. Those are the ones that are like half an hour to an hour. These live observing ones are less frequent, depends on the weather. But hopefully, maybe going into the summer, we'll have more clear skies. And if so, then I probably won't do it more than once a week. But that would be my ideal, is like once a week or every other week. M87. Oh, there's a light pollution map in the app? Is that what you're talking about, Tom? Oh, hi. Hi, Paul. From Beaumont. You're not that far from me. I'm in central Houston. I mean, in the big scheme of things, you're not that far. It's a bit of a drive, but you're over here. And I'm over here. Although, yeah. Yeah. At least, I mean, it's, oh. Let's see. Oh, right. I did know that. I forgot about that. Well, technically, I did. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, there you go. Thanks for the suggestion. um, I totally, I totally, I totally had forgotten about that. I I had totally forgotten about that, or maybe a while back I had run across it, but then slipped my mind, but that's useful. That's very useful. Gnome Dovers. That's Bortle 4. Let me go back to my. What is it called? For some reason, Google Maps thinks I'm in Washington, D.C. It's quite hilarious and frustrating at times, especially when you're like, what's a restaurant near me? It's like, that doesn't help me. Oh, okay. Okay, I could see that. Kind of, yeah, I could see that between Houston and Beaumont. I could see that being being Bortle 4. Because, yeah, like right in there, like right there. But yeah, it's like, and there was an area I was looking at going to that was, I was looking at a list of places that were like maybe off the beaten path. And there's actually these barrier islands here along the Gulf of Mexico that are actually quite dark. And some of them are parks, so they might not have overnight access. And some are like wildlife reserves and stuff. But I'd actually thought about driving down there because it's not, I live kind of on the, like this area. So I kind of can go down to Lake Jackson pretty easily. But I think the other problem I have is like some of those roads are a little, I don't know if I'd be wanting to drive them in the middle of the night. Yeah, that map is handy. I mean it's close. It's basically has, it looks to be similar to this map. So I mean it is helpful to at least get you in the right area. Yeah, I have the same issues too. Like I have two different windows going and one of them stalled, but then now it caught up for some reason. Yeah, I think I'll stop the M13 at 20 minutes of data, and then I think I will go look at which one did we say? We were saying M87 or M84. Since I finally got Stellarium up, let me use that. Oh, cool. Oh, right. So that was my suggestion. M87. It helps if I type in the right window. Oh, okay. That might. Since sometimes I have a problem. Oh, darn it. Did I figure? Sorry, I started thinking that I just remembered that it might not be visible now because of my. Yeah, I don't think it's visible. I think it's blocked by a building. Darn it. I would have to do that earlier. And I wasted too much time trying to get this other one working. Maybe next time. Or if I go from if I manage to do a live stream from another location, I'll make sure to do it in a place where I have better horizon kind of obstructions, because that's my biggest issue here, or one of my biggest. Yeah, it's probably my biggest issue is just too many foreground obstructions. I'm just looking on the phone through the list of things I've looked at recently-ish. So we got M13. Let's see, what does it say is current best? Although that's, sometimes that list is suspect. Oops. Current best. And what I always find interesting is it'll say current best objects, but then like I guess it's current best as far as like this season, but not like at this moment. Cause like it's showing me things that are like invisible, like 13P Olbers, the comet. I'm like, why is it even showing it to me? Northwest, nope. So I'm basically kind of, I look at like the angles and then the direction to figure out if it's doable. Okay. Thanks for joining, Tom. Thanks for joining, and thanks for the suggestion. And catch you next time. Um, see, like, there's all these good targets, and they're all like the wrong direction. Is that all the? No, that's north. No, I can't. I can do northeast. I can't do northwest. Can't do southwest. All nebula. Wait, let me look that up. Let's see where it is. Yeah, see, problem is for me, it's northwest, and that definitely is blocked by a building. Northeast would work. Yeah, the problem is I think I mean, it says northwest, but let me see. I mean, I can try. I'll try. I mean, worst comes to worst, oh, why am I trying from this one? This one never works. Worst comes to worst, it'll just not be able to find the target, and I'll know pretty quickly. So this has been going for 23 minutes. We'll stop that. That was a nice result. That worked pretty well. So let's try M. Oops, I didn't. I always do that. Like I end up exiting out when I don't mean to. M. Let's try this. I don't think I've actually imaged this with my Seestar. I think it's been on my list, but I hadn't done that. I do have this idea of trying to get to a pretty dark sky and do a live stream, because I am real curious how much better it'll be. Let's see. Let us see. Huh. Oh, an M108's right there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've thought about that and the how much more we know. Um, the one that really kind of boggles my mind, you know, it's understandable. Wait, let me stop this to see, because one way I can, when it kind of isn't able to identify and then it doesn't move it. Oops. Nope. See how it's just kind of uh, a solid color? That's because it's pointing at my at a house. Darn it. Okay. So not that one. But yeah, I've so it's understandable when like a long time ago, like thousands of years ago, that people wouldn't know what they were looking at. But then, you know, they figured out I mean, like some of the orbital paths and stuff. They didn't necessarily understand all the mechanics, but, and then once you got telescopes and they were starting to identify things like these Messier objects. But the thing that gets me is that they didn't know that, like, it wasn't known that these things were galaxies outside of our galaxy until Hubble, like until the 19, like 100 years ago. Like that to me, like, like they knew a lot about our galaxy, but they didn't realize those other things were much, much further away. And that I find interesting, that that was a 20th century thing that I still find amazing. Um, yeah. Yeah, my M108 is a surfboard. Yeah, I'll try to I need to what I end up doing is I'll make notes about like next observing session or thing like tomorrow night. I'm not going to do a live stream tomorrow night, but if it's clear things I should try earlier. Because the problem is it like only gets dark at 9 p.m. here, and so I only have like an hour to, like, I have to basically come up with a priority list of things that I know will be in, like, between the buildings that I can take photos of it. It really is, is a hassle, but so I'm going to put that one down so I can check it out. And yeah, it is really, it's like, I run across that now and again when I'm reading something else about Hubble, and it still amazes me that. And so, like, when I started getting interested in astronomy in the late 70s or early 80s, it wasn't like, I mean, it had been half a century, a little over half a century since that had been known. Like, that just amazes me. That so let's see what we can see in now. Some of these I am looking forward to. No, this not this one, but like the eagle. Yeah, that's at 4 in the morning. So in another couple months or so, I should be able to start catching those in the evening. So that's good. That'll be nice. Let's see what else. I didn't. I think I need to like start auto dismissing the chat. I mean, turn that on because I end up forgetting. Um, let's search objects, find. Okay, what else? Actually, current best. See what it claims is best right now. Where's that? Nope. I mean, nope. It is such a drag. I even thought about like doing this from my mom's house because she has like a massive tree and she still has more visible sky and her at her house. This is like major drag. I mean, there's a lot of good targets like in Virgo, but in that area, but it's all blocked by my house already or the neighbor's house. Nope. And see even like Bode's Galaxy. Yeah, northwest. Man. What I've wanted to do actually let me just for grins, let me try the pinwheel. One thing the evil eye. Let me see if I have anything on my computer. Cuz I had imaged a lot of things. Like I was trying to kind of go through. Wait, which one were we just talking about? Oh, M64. Nope. I don't think No, I didn't do M64. I was trying to remember if I did or not. No. I was trying to get a lot of. I've been trying to, take photos of Messier objects as I'm able to, just for the sake of completeness. But I didn't get that one. Well, that's promising. It's not pointing at. It's not pointing at. It's able to see stars, so there's no house blocking it. So I might be able to actually see. Why does it do that? I haven't. It's so odd. Like, I don't understand that. Sometimes what I've done is I'll just like manually reposition it and then like enough where it's trying to replate solve things. And sometimes that fixes it because like it's not pointing at the same spot. It's very strange. Oh. Well, it had it before, but then when I tried photographing it, it went all crazy. And 10 seconds. Is that the galaxy there? and see, that's the other thing. I've I've been wanting to do some experiments with different tripods and mounts I have and see which ones work best. But between cloudy skies and limited observing windows, I haven't really been able to do that. Because I have some other tripods I've wanted to try out to see if maybe they were more stable or didn't have the calibration issues. Okay, I think this is it. This is M101. Yeah. Theoretically. Yeah, so we'll let this go for a little bit. And this will be the last target for the evening, I think. And if it starts failing, I think I'll just bail, since a lot of the things I wanted to get just aren't visible. Which again goes back to why I wanted both of the Seestars going at the same time, so I could try to image a lot of these things before they get blocked. But yeah, as far as like the evil eye, let me look that up. I mean, I know what it looks like, but I want to see what Stellarium says it looks like. So, yeah, the problem is, I think it's going to be like you'll be able to see some aspects of it. But like this is the field of view for the Seestar, so it's going to be pretty small. The dark eye. I mean, you'll see. Let me see if I can find an example of something. This is what I'm looking at. All these, I have a copy of. It's not a complete copy. It's not all the targets I've imaged, but it's a decent number of them. And then that's one of the Seestars, and then a bunch were on the other. Let's see. What one? Oh, that was M42. That's not what I'm looking for. M33. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, this one's smaller. This is NGC. I was trying to remember which one would be comparable in size, and that's much smaller. That's NGC 2903. Yeah, did I? I mean, with bigger ones like M33, I've been able to get pretty nice, or I think reasonable results, but that's M33. I mean, I need to do some work with it, but that was kind of like, the one that came out of the telescope was this. So I was pleased that I got it to that other one. But M101. So let me see. Here was the one we're looking at right now. And this was 328 exposures, so almost an hour of data. And look at how faint it is. But that said, I think this was during the full moon, so it was definitely far from ideal. Trying to find see if I have an example of another galaxy. What does that one look like? How big is this one? Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I spent a little. I mean, it was from multiple sessions. The one I showed out of telescope was like the longest one, but then I spent a lot of time working on it to try to get that result. And I've thought about like, that one's small. Oh, that's too small. I'm basically looking at other galaxies I've. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That looks to be almost similar size. And this is M106, and that was like 40 minutes. So let's see how big what that looks like in Siril. One thing I do when I'm processing these, whoa, that's bigger. Boy, that looks small. I mean, the problem is sometimes like it ends up looking small because you're really only getting the core of it. And yeah, I mean, again, a lot of it's not necessarily just a reflection. It's not, I always have a hard time of telling, is it a reflection on the telescope or just the bad seeing I have where I am? I think maybe it's a little bit of both. But trying to see what other. Yeah, see, I've been trying to get more of Markarian's chain, but yeah, a lot of them have been like, yeah, this is some of. I mean, those are some of the smaller ones in it, the smaller galaxies in the chain, and some of these, like I've tried. I've imaged them multiple times because it's just, they're so faint. My skies are so bad that it just takes a lot of data to try to overcome that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like looking at, oh yeah, I don't know if it's, which is one of the reasons why I do want to take my Seestar out somewhere like a Bortle 4 or darker, which is why I was kind of scoping out places, because to get to like a Bortle 2 is really a drive for me. But granted, Bortle 2 is pretty exceptional. I'm just looking through these other ones to see if there's anything. I swear there was some galaxy, and I'm not finding it, that I had imaged that had some dark features. You know what it was? Actually, even, do I have it on this computer, on this drive? You know what it was? It was, I mean, it's not the one I'm thinking of, or I initially was thinking of, but I did do some photos of Leo Triplet, and those I was pretty happy with. But I'm, unfortunately, like I say, it's not in a position where I can get to it. It's on another hard drive somewhere. Yeah. I do not have that. I mean, this is one of the unprocessed images, and this was half an hour exposure, which is pretty good, but it was April 29th, so I wasn't dealing with the moon here. And you can see the dust lane here in, is it the Hamburger Galaxy or whatever, NGC, whatever it is. So you can definitely see the dust lane there. And when I processed it through Siril, it definitely was a lot more vibrant, but this is just right out of the telescope. So you can, now some of these, there's some details here that you can't really see, which is one of the reasons why I keep getting more and more exposures of it, because I'm trying to get like more detail. But you definitely can see, like if I could go look at this, like, you know, I was able to capture this dust lane, but like some of the detail in this spiral, you can't, because it's the resolution. But if you look at like some of this, whereas what do you call it? Oops, I keep doing this. Yeah, I mean, again, it's nowhere near. I mean, these photos are from like a deep space survey, but yeah, you can kind of get the idea. And actually, this one's kind of an irregular, and you can kind of tell that here. And then this one is more stretched out. But see, like there's a dust lane here that you can't, or maybe you can kind of start seeing it there. Yeah, you can kind of see it there, which again is why I keep imaging those targets. And I have a better stack that I've done with Siril, and I need to go back and look at that because but again, it's not where I can get to it. Well, this is still going, so that's good. Thanks. Yeah, I've been so oops, sorry, I keep doing that. It's getting late. I have not extensively, honestly. I used it soon, the stacking and editing software built into the Seestar. I have used it a little bit, but not as not that much. Mostly because like I think they added the ability to restack in the app, and I did do it on a couple of things, but it did something kind of I wasn't sure exactly. I need to look at it again, honestly. I need to look at it again. I haven't looked at it since it came out, since they added that feature. But I think because I had kind of already started this workflow with Siril and some other software, and because I don't want to keep the images on the Seestar, I mean, it's nice if you're sharing them, but I feel like you're probably going to get better results outside of the Seestar. But that said, the results in the Seestar are pretty good. Like, so, I mean, mostly I think what I've been doing is I just share what the JPEG that comes out of the Seestar, or I end up dumping everything off, which I want to have it off the Seestar anyway. Because I've filled them up. You know, I actually had to clear off some space before this because both of them were full. And but yeah, I haven't used it that much. Yeah. What else? Yeah, this is chugging away. I think I'm probably going to wrap it up before too long. Let me see what else. I mean, yeah, they could. I mean, but you know, the nice thing about the Seestar photos, like right out of them or right out of the Seestar, is they're watermarked where like they have your name in there, and I leave that on because it's like it's fine. And then, I mean, but yeah, I like theoretically people could just edit that. Yeah, yeah, I haven't. I mostly do, like I say, I use the external software. Just, I don't know. I like, like family of mine are more, I'm proficient with phones, but I prefer having more screen real estate. Like I'm the person who has like 2 or 3 monitors on their computer. And so I get frustrated kind of dealing with the small screen. And so, and I would consider it maybe on the iPad just because of the bigger screen. Um, and that said, like, there is some other ASI software that's more aimed at at like the ZWO cameras. And, I've kind of played around with some of that a little bit just to see, um, and I have a feeling just based on how the ASI Air is, which that it'll just get better and better. Uh, the the software on the Seestar. Um, but yeah, I usually find this screen real estate kind of constraining. Um, and you're welcome. Thanks for the questions and stuff. And yeah, as far as sharing, I did the watermarks are good. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Although, the some of the stuff I see people sharing are like AI stuff. Like I remember some people complaining before the solar eclipse. Um, I remember people complaining before the solar eclipse that and right afterwards that they were seeing like AI generated eclipse photos that were like totally fictional, like seeing the like a photo of the eclipsed sun with the crescent moon, which doesn't isn't how it works. And then they'd get like crazy amounts of likes and stuff and on Instagram or whatever, and it was frustrating because it's like the people were kind of reacting to something that wasn't even possible, let alone real. And so that was frustrating. Yeah. You're welcome, and thank you for joining, Allison. It was good to see you on the stream. But yeah, it's after midnight, and I think yeah, you're welcome. Amanda, I think I'm probably gonna wrap it up now. It's midnight, and I've got to work tomorrow. Um, and I got up pretty early too, and I knew I was probably gonna be do this. So I do a non-observing live almost every week. My current slot is Friday evening at 7 Central Time, 8 Eastern. It's kind of moved around. Originally it was Friday afternoon, and then it moved to Saturday, and then sometimes it would slip into Sunday. But now I'm trying to do it Friday evening. That's every week, not observing. Although I've thought that if it was Friday and it was clear, I would probably try to do some observing, although it wouldn't necessarily turn into like a long one. Although if it's Friday, if people, wanted to, I could just keep going, or maybe I'd start off with a topic and then kind of just shift into observing if it's clear. But otherwise, these kind of observing ones are just sporadic based on whenever weather is nice here. So, yeah, it depends. But if you, the stereotypical, if you like and subscribe and click the notification bell, I have been getting in the habit. Every one of my live streams, I have like this 5-minute pre kind of video, countdown video. And I didn't do it initially, but then I read somewhere that they recommended doing that because even if you have notifications turned on, and even if the stream is scheduled, Google doesn't push out the notifications at the same time. So by having like that 5 minutes in the beginning, it actually gives time for Google to kind of push out the notifications and for people to see them and to join it. And since I've started doing that, I've noticed that like when the stream actually starts after that 5 minutes, there's actually people on the stream, whereas before it would start and there'd be like 0 people on the stream. And then people would show up pretty quickly, but yeah, it's thanks for joining, Allison. And yeah, so if I have the live stream, if I do the observing on Friday, if it's clear, which I don't know that, let's look. I have this handy dandy browser here that I still kept up on the screen. What does it say for Friday? Friday. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Friday, I mean, it's still a few days out. It could potentially be clear, although it looks like, I mean, if this window and the fact that it's going to be clear overnight, like if this cloud window kind of shifts, which it probably will, it could either be nothing or it could actually be clear. In which case, yeah, I might, after my thing, I might do some more live observing. Yep. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Okay. Thanks. Thank you. So I'm way behind on the messages. Yeah, the pre-show is so it also is good for like a mic check. Because then I can verify before the stream starts that I'm sending stuff out and go to YouTube and not get feedback by trying to do it while the stream's actually, like, while I'm actually talking. Yeah. I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'm starting to get, to kind of, lose focus even more, but yeah, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the, conversation and chat and suggestions and everything. I really appreciate it. And, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I've previously left it imaging, but I'm actually going to stop it while the stream's running. But yeah, and even if you miss kind of the live part of it, I'm, you know, I have, I mean, the videos stay up, so you can always look at it afterwards, but it's not the same, but yeah, I mean, it'll see. And if we end up having like a lot of clear weather, I mean, I have toyed around with the idea of like, I mean, I don't necessarily want to clutter up all of my videos like with just live observing, but I have thought about like doing unlisted ones, or I don't know. I haven't thought it through, but we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of, I have a number of other videos, but yeah, exactly. Thanks, Amanda. And so, yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. And, actually just look at this. It was in the nick of time. See this right here? This band here? This is actually, it's starting to track into a building. Like that's a building right there. So we stopped it just in time. We couldn't have gone any further. All right. Well, thanks for joining. If you're watching this afterwards and you made it this far, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Probably live streaming on Friday, 7 p.m. Central Time. And yeah, thanks. I've been there's been a lot of work on it, but all right. Yeah, good meeting you too, Paul. Look forward to talking again. And thank you for liking and subscribing. And I will see you all on the next one. And I'm going to try this again. It kind of misfired the last time, but I've been trying new things. So I'm going to try my my outro. So have a good night, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Of course it didn't work. Typical. That is hilarious. Yeah. It's so much for the so much for the dramatic end to the stream. I'm going to try one thing real quick, because this is going to bug me because the problem is with some of these things, you don't, if you don't practice, it's hard to practice some things on a live stream unless you're live streaming. And this did work last time, but this time it's let's see if this works. Wait, I'm just trying to see if there was any last messages. Oh no. Oh no. Hi, good morning, Lindsay. I'm about to end the stream. Actually, you joined at the best time. No, I know how to shut it off. It's just I'm trying to be what do you call it? Overly I'm trying to overdo it. I know what I did. I pushed the wrong button. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, unfortunately, it's really late here, and I realized what I did wrong. I pushed the wrong button. So it would have worked if I would have pushed the wrong button. So I'm gonna say my thing again. It's really late. If you're watching this on the replay, this is what happens when you're up for like 18, 20 hours and decide to do, I mean, you do a live stream at the end of your 20-hour day. Anyway, thanks for joining, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.